This is Gloria J. York, spiritual channeler since birth, master tarot reader for over 25 years, and best-selling author of the #1 bestseller, Medical Manslaughter. Will your doctor cause your death? You know, Dr. Air is the third largest killer in the United States, next to cancer and heart disease. I wrote this book because it's the true story of my husband's death, which was due to doctor mistake. This book was written to save your life. I urge you to read it. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or my website, gloriajyork.us. It will save your life, I guarantee. Okay, here we are, October 11th, 2020, and I'm here to do a spiritual read. I have contacted Spirit, and you ask, who is Spirit? Spirit is God. Spirit is Jesus. Spirit is also the Blessed Mother, angels, archangels, and saints that come and speak to me and lay out messages to me in regards to whatever subject it is. And this subject is for the United States of America, more specifically for President Donald J. Trump and Joe Biden. So I like to take a look at what is occurring in both of their plants and fields and see what Spirit has to say is going on for the sake of America. Now, this is totally unscripted. There are no teleprompters here or no notes. I just say to you what Spirit says to me. I am just the messenger. I am just the vessel. And so when I speak to you, whatever message I'm relaying is coming from Spirit. It's not mine. So we take a look. I already meditated on the cards, and especially meditated on both gentlemen, both candidates. And the initial read here is coming up mostly for President Trump and for the United States of America. And we start out first with the world. And then influencing the world is the death card. Now, the world here is representing the United States of America. Spirit is telling me this represents our country with all its freedoms, with Constitution, with the freedom to speak and to write, and the Second Amendment, freedom to bear arms and own arms. And with this death card, Spirit is telling me that our country, America, is in the process of dying. Our country, America, is in the process of dying, being dissolved, being destroyed, and it'll never, ever, ever, ever be the same again. It'll never come back. It's ready to go over a threshold into dictatorship. And if you want to save America, then you have to vote smart. And Spirit is saying that the election is still up in the air. Surprisingly, the election is still up in the air. People are still wondering who they should vote for. And so Spirit is going to try to enlighten all of us as to what really is happening here, so that the answer becomes crystal clear. And so that we can save America. So many of our forefathers, our relatives, have fought wars, put their life on the line to preserve our freedom, our Constitution, and to give us all these freedoms that we enjoy. And so we cannot frivolously just let it go by in an election. And never, ever, ever, Spirit says, was there an election so important, so crucial as this election this time. Surely in the past we've heard, oh, this is an important election. Yeah, we've heard that many times. And at that time it was important. But this one is critical. It's crucial. Because the wrong person gets in. And it's not just the person, it's the party behind them. That wrong party gets in. It will destroy our freedoms totally. So let's continue and see. Now the card came up here with the Four of Swords, which is regarding health and relaxation and also resting. It did come up in reverse, which is a good thing. And this relates to President Trump. Yes, he went through this deadly disease, COVID. And when I'm sure he got those words, you have COVID, you've tested positive, I'm sure a million things went through his mind. And maybe one of them was death. But he recuperated. He recovered because he was able to receive a therapeutic that all of a sudden put him on the road to recovery. And God sent him that illness. He admits it. He says, I believe it's been a miracle. A miracle from God gave me this. Now, he went out, and all this talk about COVID, he knew from day one, yes, it is a very contagious disease. It's a bacteria. It's in the air. We cannot see it. We cannot smell it. It's just there. And it comes and it attacks anybody at any time. And every day he had briefings in front of the camera, every single day, bringing us step by step by step by step what he was doing. He hid nothing. And anyone that says that they could have handled this epidemic better is a liar. Plain and simple. First thing he did as soon as he heard about how bad it was, he closed all the borders. Nobody comes in from China. Then nobody comes in from Europe. See, years ago, he used to be a germophobic. People forget that. He didn't even shake hands with people because he was always on guard about viruses and germs. But of course, when he got into politics, he had to overcome that. And so he started shaking hands and hugging and all that to strangers. Again, not knowing what disease someone might be carrying. But he took this virus and he took it seriously. He didn't stand in front of the camera and cry and scream and say, "Oh my God, we're all going to die." Well, that would have been absolutely absurd. That would have been inexcusable. Instead of doing that, he took action. Action as far as getting what do we need, medical doctors, got everybody together, formed a task force immediately, and put Vice President Pence in charge of it, who worked 7 days a week, 24 hours a day on call to get everything we needed. And so the scientists in the medical field says, hey, we need respirators, gowns, we need masks, we need gloves, we need medicines, we're going to try this, let's try that. And the whole world was in on it too. They were all trying because the infection went everywhere, thanks to China. China made this virus in a laboratory and let it purposely escape. Purposely. And so President Trump got everybody together, called on the manufacturers of cars and said, stop what you're doing with the cars. I need you to make respirators. Well, we never made that. Look it up. Get some help. Make them. And said to the pharmaceuticals, start making something to stop this virus. Find out all that you can about it. So you see, he was working constantly to get everything that we needed. And then you had governors, the governor from New York, Cuomo, governor from California, governor from Illinois, all these different governors, Jersey, calling him saying, hey, I need more hospital beds. I got 50,000 people that have this virus. All these numbers were just escalated and exploded. Did President Trump dive into his basement and lock the door and say, I can't help you? No. He said, all right, let's see what we could do. I'm going to send you a ship, the ship, Hope. And you have all these different rooms and beds on the ship. I'm going to open up your Javits Convention Center and get beds and rooms made up for you. 1,000 beds and rooms. I'm going to go to Chicago in McCormick Place. I'm going to set up all kind of beds for you, 500-600 beds for you. These governors, oh, thank you. They were hysterical. The governors were hysterical, not the President of the United States, not Donald J. Trump. He kept his head and he just kept looking for the solution. That's what a leader does. Meantime, Joe Biden calls him on the phone and says, hey, you're a xenophobic. You're no good. Open up those borders. We got to have China coming in. Open that up. Get China. China got to come in. China didn't do nothing wrong. Why? Because Biden has a tie to China. Biden is in bed with China. How else can we say it to get it into your head? Biden worked deals with China. He worked deals with the Ukraine. His son, Hunter, who's a cocaine addict, got kicked out of the service, doesn't have a job, needs money. He's got all kind of personal issues with a past wife and everybody else. And Biden takes him over there to China and introduces him to the top people. And then he talks to them and says that he wants them to give his son a job, a good paying job. And so Burizia gets talked into giving his son a job to be in charge of energy on the board. What does Hunter know about energy? Nothing. What does his schooling tell him about energy? Nothing. But he got paid $4.2 million for that job, which is like $144,000 a month for a job that he has no experience in. And then an inspector started to look into this. He found this very curious. Who is this kid in charge of our energy and that? And he has no experience, and he's getting paid such monumental salary. Then Biden comes back over again. Hey, I'm vice president. You get rid of that inspector who's trying to look into my son's business. Well, I don't know if we can do that. You do it. Well, you're the vice president, but I need to talk to the president. This is all on an audio tape. I heard it again the other day. Someone was broadcasting it as Biden was telling his cronies the story. And he says, and I said to him, go ahead, call him up. Call the president up. So you see, he even indicted Obama into this scheme. He pulled him in and made him an accessory to this. And then the guy backed down. And Biden laughs as he's telling his cronies, and the next day I get the call, and the inspector is gone. Now, in order for Biden to get that kind of money for his son, he got a piece of it. If his son is getting $4.2 million, then Biden's got to get a piece of that too, some millions. But then to get this through and to make everything work out more smoothly, he had to get the Secretary of State in on it and get the approval. Because what he's talking about is a lot of corrupt stuff, okay? A lot of maneuvering, a lot of corruption. And so he had to get the Secretary of State in on it and make sure that that person was in on the game plan too. Well, who's the Secretary of State? Maybe you might recognize the name, maybe not. That would be Hillary Clinton. Does that ring a bell? And so don't you think Hillary Clinton got some millions for letting this deal go through? That's just China and Ukraine. And then there's Russia. I mean, deals were being made like you can't believe, all to fill their own personal coffers. This is what President Trump calls the swamp. This is what the swamp is. And this is what President Donald J. Trump is trying to clean up. And he's all alone. And the top millionaires, billionaires, and trillionaires are all together against him. They need to get Trump out of office. They never expected him to get in the first place. And while he's been in, he's been uncovering all kind of corruption. Little by little, he's peeling it back like an onion. And now, of course, you got the big corruption of them spying on his election, spying on his campaign in 2016. Whose idea was it? Was Hillary Clinton's idea. Why did she go there and say, hey, let's make up a story that there's a Russian spy that says that he knows that Trump is colluding with Putin, even though it's a lie. But let's just say it's the truth. And they got through and got an order through the courts. They lied to the courts. That's right. That's right. And then she has all these emails. These are all confidential information that she has, that she's sending out to all these governments, our enemies, so that she could get more and more money for her bank account. When she left office, she had $240 million in her bank account. How did she get $240 million in her bank account? How? Come on, you're not stupid. And so it goes. And now President Trump has more and more information that this scheme was then brought, of course, to Biden. And, of course, Comey's in on it. And they brought it, of course, to the head Obama. And Obama had to give the nod in order for it to proceed. All this President Trump has unraveled, but it's taken 4 years to unravel all this. And now we're ready to bring these people up on charges. Do you see how important this is for President Trump to have another 4 years? And then we'll take it even a step further as we look more and more into the cards, okay? We'll take it here and we look at the fact here that a lot of people are thinking about, oh my, am I not going to have any money? Well, the card came up in reverse because prior to that, we have the King of Pentacles, and that's President Trump holding the line to give you what you deserve, to give you a working economy and come back. And he's on his way to making this country come back. 4 more years from him, we'll be further ahead than we were the last time. And we were far. And we were doing great. And we were more successful than ever. But you got to get past all of the corruption that might be going on. And so you say, well, what kind of corruption is going on? Well, as we go through the cards, we see here that we have the Page of Cups. All right. Now, first, as our final ending here, we had the Page of Rods. Now, the Page of Rods here is talking about some sort of dealings, something in regards to someone that's a foreigner. And then with it being backed up with the Page of Cups, Spirit is telling me that this definitely is a foreigner, and things all here that you're seeing in regards to Biden is all false. It's fishy. Something isn't right there. Something isn't right with that campaign. And so you say, well, what could it possibly be? What could it possibly be? Well, here on our cards, we have the Fool. That's right, we have the Fool. So you take suspicion and you take collusion and things that are happening that shouldn't be happening. And then you throw in a foreigner. You throw in a foreigner and foreign governments. And what you have is you have these trillionaires and billionaires that are not only here in America, but in foreign lands. And you got the person that they got kind of running the show, the main guy. They tell him, we want this done. Then he sends out all the emails. This is what you say this week. You say that President Trump isn't feeling good. You say that President Trump ignored the seriousness of COVID. You say that President Trump didn't take it seriously. You say that President Trump failed worse than any other administration. And he sends out all these same messages at every single network, newspaper They repeat the same thing. If you jump from channel to channel to channel, you'll hear them all say the same words, same words, same words. Even Kamala at the debate, this is the worst administration ever, that in regards to COVID and how he ignored the seriousness of COVID, and Joe Biden doesn't. Yeah, Joe Biden went down in his basement and locked the door and didn't see anybody, didn't talk to anybody. That was his way to stay safe. Well, when you're the President of the United States, you can't be a coward like Joe Biden. And while I'm on the subject, just let me say, when he says that he's from Scranton, Pennsylvania, he's not from Scranton. He grew up there, was 10 years old, and then they left. And he never went back. And he never goes back until he needs your vote. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we Pennsylvanians get sick to our stomach when he said he's from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I know what it's like to work hard. I'm a blue-collar person. Yeah, with almost $100 million in his bank account. Tell me another one, Joe. Tell me another lie. And he lies constantly, constantly. But getting back to this Biden administration. So you have these billionaires and trillionaires and the guys calling the shot, the big gun. We'll call him Satan. And so Satan tells them what to do. And Satan tells Biden what to do. And you know, when he had that debate with Trump, he wore a wire. Yeah, there's a video showing him putting his hand in his right lapel. And when he pulled his hand out, a little bit of the wire came out too. And then there was an odd little black thing that was coming out of the cuff. Oh yeah, he wore a wire. Somebody was feeding him the answers, feeding him what to say. Oh yeah, wasn't on the up and up. And so President Trump comes out. He knew, okay, Biden's his opponent. He knew Biden was going to come up with a lot of lies, but he also knew that Chris Wallace was a Democrat in bed with the Democrats and taking orders from Murdoch, who owns Fox and is Wallace's boss. And so naturally, Wallace had to really make sure that Biden was taken care of. Biden would be the sacred cow that day. That's right. And so President Trump knew he was fighting not one, but two during this debate. And the only way he was going to be able to say what he wanted to say to the American public was to burst in there and say it, to interrupt, to be aggressive. That was the only way. Because if he waited for Wallace to give him a chance, it wasn't coming. If he waited for Wallace to ask Biden a tough question, that would never happen. And it didn't happen. If he waited for Biden to answer or to decide not to answer, that would be okay with Wallace. But that was not okay with President Trump. So you don't look at President Trump and say, "Wow, you were obnoxious. You were ignorant. You didn't use politeness." No, this was no time for politeness. This was his chance to get his word out on what he had done, to squelch the lies from Biden, and to get Biden to open up and tell us what he has in mind if he would become president. And Biden refused to do it. Because Biden is led by radicals. You can call them socialists, but the bottom line is they're communist. They are Democrat communists. That is who's leading the Democrat Party today. So Biden is there as a puppet. I told you before, he'll go in, he'll be then disposed of. Okay, you could step aside, because who do they want to really sit in that president's spot? Naturally, Bernie Sanders. You're right. Bernie Sanders. And you all know what Bernie Sanders campaigned on. He's just right out there. We got the Green New Deal. We're going to have college for everyone and medical care for everyone. And oh, wow, just be marvelous. Well, Bernie, where's all this money coming from that you're going to have? You know where it's coming from? The blue-collar worker, the middle class, the lower class, the blacks, the Hispanics. All of you will be paying and paying and paying taxes, taxes, taxes. And then, for the rest of you, definitely, they'll go into your bank account and freeze your bank accounts. Yes, they'll freeze your bank accounts, and you won't be able to get in it. This is not made up. This is not fiction. This is the way that socialism, communism works. They'll freeze it and take all your money and put it into one big cauldron. And then everybody will get a sliver, an equal sliver. Yes, even the guy next door that sits on his butt and hasn't made $1 in years, and you go out every morning and you go to work and you slave and you scrimp and you save. He's going to get a sliver of your money. Do you see how drastic, critical, and scary this election is? It's frightening. It's frightening because it could become a reality in just a few days. You've got to vote for President Trump if you love America. Because if you vote for Biden, you're voting for communism. And as far as Kamala is concerned, they'll kick her out too, because they have learned now through the last debate, she's not liked. She's not liked at all by anybody. People don't even like to hear her voice. You think they're going to tolerate that? Nah. They had no idea she would be so disliked. With her proclivity to giggling constantly giggling, giggling. I'm speaking, she kept saying at the debate. No kidding. You're speaking, but you know what? You're not telling the truth. It's just a bunch of lies and a bunch of words coming out of your mouth, even a fake story about Abraham Lincoln. Wow. Wow. Unreal, isn't it? I wish what I've telling you so far and what I'm hearing from God himself was a fairy tale. But it isn't. I swear to you, it isn't. Spirit wants you to hear this. Spirit wants you to pass this on to your family, to your colleagues, to your friends, and definitely to your strangers. Go on YouTube, look up my video, October 11th, President Trump versus Biden, and then share it. Share it on Messenger. Pick an alphabet letter and share it down as much as you can. Share it, and share it. Let it get out there to people so they hear the truth. Biden gets up there and he acts like a sweet old grandpa. Oh, hi, I'm wearing my mask. I'm talking through my mask. You see, I follow the scientists. I follow the scientists. I listen to the scientists. Incidentally, before I forget, I want to say here that I'm seeing that he's going to be prone to illness. Yeah, he's going to be prone to illness. And so that is coming up in his immediate future. Will it be this week? It's very, very possible. Could be this week. this week, next week. It's seeing right here. But what you have is not only this conclave that meets with the trillionaires and the billionaires and the millionaires, and you saw it this week with Nancy Pelosi. She's looking into that 25th Amendment. No, she wasn't looking into that for Trump. But do you notice as she talks about it, whether if she was talking about it for Trump, which she didn't, it's more for Biden, that administration. Do you notice how there was no mention of a vice president? Because you know when the president gets ill or is incapacitated, that's why the vice president is there. It's kind of like the safety net and steps in and takes over the position, the job. But you see, her bringing up this 25th Amendment, you see how corrupt they want to get in that party? When I say they want to completely destroy our Constitution, I mean completely destroy it. Set it on fire. Bring it down to ashes as they bring our country down to ashes, economy-wise, etc. And so everything is in ashes now. And so here we are in power. We will put this back together, except now we will dictate to you what the new rules will be. And part of the new rules is there's no vice president. That's why Pelosi's bringing this up. Because there will be a president, a leader, whatever they want to call him, definitely a dictator. That's the way they are. Do you notice they're already starting that? Biden saying, you don't need to know what I'm going to do if I'm elected in regards to packing the Supreme Court. You don't need to know, Americans. I'll tell you when I'm good and ready. That's his tone of voice. That is the way he governs. If you look back in the past at any videos about him or articles, you'll see that's in him. That ugliness is in him. He wants to be the dictator. Talk about an egotistical maniac. He'll be worse than Hitler. Worse. And so, they'll have this dictator, and then anything else they want to come up with, they'll go to their Congress. There won't be any vice president. Supreme Court, and that'll be just another body. In other words, there'll only be one party. That's all. Just like Russia. Just like China. Get it? One party, that's all. There won't be no more Republicans and Democrats and independents. There won't be any need for another election, ever. There won't be a need. There's no need. They will say, I am the party. I call the shots. And I don't get just 4 years to do it. Please, 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 please share this video. Enlighten some people that have no idea what's going on, that they think it's just some little old sweet 78-year-old guy making his way to the podium and saying to you, I want us all to work together. I want us to come together. We can do it together. Together we will build America. Together, they want you to build the America that they have in mind. A communistic America. Let's take a look a little further at the cards that Spirit is telling us. And Spirit, final outcome. And I just asked Spirit to concentrate and look at this week. I'm trying to take a week at a time. Of course, I say a week, it might be this week and next week. Some of this might flow. Time is fluid, okay? But it is more now. So don't think I'm talking 3, 4, 5 months out. No, I'm not. This is in the now. And so we have the Page of Rods coming up, okay? And I already mentioned that then we had the Page of Cups. And these are someone that is foreign governments, foreign people involved in our business. And they are very involved in our business. President Trump is holding the line. He's not wasting any time. He lost some time because he was sick. But he came flying out of that sick bed now, and boy, starting tomorrow, Monday, Columbus Day, he's starting and he's going out. I think his first trip is to Miami. I'm not sure, okay? But he's almost going to be somewhere every single day. He's trying to make up the ground from a few days being lost. But he's a hard worker. And the Fool card came out. And again, Spirit is saying, don't be a fool when you vote. Don't be a fool. You better vote for the person you know. President Trump, you know. You saw Biden and Obama for 8 years. They put us in a state of recession. Do you remember that? All of our manufacturing companies left and went to China and all over the place. President Trump brought them back. President Trump helped the people in Maine with their lobster business. He got those people regulations so that they can make money off the lobsters that they collect. They were going down the tube. They were closing up their shipping, and they were in shipping for many, many, many generations. And you got a Republican senator up there that won't even support President Trump after he saved Maine's economy. She won't even support him in putting in an extraordinary woman, Amy Coney Barrett, into the Supreme Court. A good mother, an excellent judge, a law professor. Extraordinary woman. Won't even support putting her in there and voting yes. After he saves her state, the biggest business they have there, she turns her back on President Trump and knifes him in the back. That's the kind of government you have. See, there's still a lot of the swamp that needs to be cleaned out. President Trump deserves another 4 years. With President Trump, you know who you're getting, an honest man. Yeah, he says what comes into his head instantly. They said, hey, we're going to do a remote viewing, a virtual debate. I'm not doing that, he says, right away, boom. You don't need to take a lot of time to decide it. I'm not doing virtual. I like face-to-face, and he loves face-to-face. He loves to see you close to him. He loves to hear your voices. That's why he loves the rallies. He don't want to hide. He's not a hide-in-the-basement type of guy. And when he's done, he takes all kind of questions from all reporters. What questions do you have? What? And he answers every single one. Not like Biden and Harris. They go running off the stage, running into their bus, hiding from the reporters. They don't want to talk to reporters. They don't want the reporters to ask them any questions because they're not supposed to talk. That's the information they got from up above, from Satan. Don't talk to anybody. Just get done and get in the bus. And you see Biden, he runs. I mean, he actually, as best as he can at 78, he runs to get on that bus. And Harris runs right after him and giggling all the way. Whew. Wow. Is that what you want in a president and vice president? Well, you wouldn't get him anyway, like I said. If they would win, and the only way they could win is through a corrupt, fraudulent election. Okay? If that would happen and they got in, well, those two would be gone anyway. Now, I pulled up a few extra cards in another deck, trying to get more into the Biden situation. And so we come up here with the Knight of Pentacles is the first card. The second card is the Seven of Cups. And the last card is the Ten of Swords. All right, so let's start with that first card, which is the Knight of Pentacles. These are messages that Biden is going to be delivering on the campaign trail. How his economic plan is great. This is how I'm going to bring back America. I'm going to bring back manufacturing back here to America. Gee, doesn't that sound like Trump? I'm going to get that vaccine out to everybody. Gee, doesn't that sound like Trump? I'm going to make sure the scientists are really working on some sort of a therapeutic and vaccine. Gee, doesn't that sound like Trump? He doesn't have a new idea at all. All he can do is take what Trump has already done and say he's going to do that. Or all he could do is take what Trump says he's going to do and Biden say, I'm going to do that too. I'm going to do that too. I'm going to do it faster. I'm going to do it better. We're going to do it together. He keeps trying to bring you in on it when you know all along he'll be running the show. The next is the Seven of Cups, and the Seven of Cups is a card that says there's so many things that is being said that are all smoke and mirrors. There's all kind of promises that are being made just to get you to vote for them. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it, America. Because all this is smoke and mirrors. All this is like rubbing a lamp and saying, I wish. I'm going to bring you money. I'm going to bring you happiness. I'm going to bring you prosperity. I'm going to bring you this. I'm going to bring you that. I'll get you a new home. I'm going to get you a car. Well, of course, with the Green Deal, they want to do away with all the cars and lot of the buildings. And if you do have a car, the gasoline's going to be $13 a gallon under the new Green Deal. And then they're going to tell you when you could go to the store to buy food. You can only go to the store 3 days a week. And this week, nobody buys meat. There will be no meat this week. You can buy chicken this week. You could buy only this. You can only take one of those. Everything will be controlled in your life. You'll wish your life was over. And then, this is the end. The Ten of Swords. Does that look like a happy card to you? It's not. It is the end. It's the end of a life as you knew it. And once you're dead, you're dead. And you'll wish you were dead. That's how grueling, sad, traumatic life will be under Biden. That's right. Because remember, instead of Biden, just say communism. Millions of people don't leave America to go to China and Russia, but they do leave China and Russia and try to run and get into America. There's never been an instance where people have run from our democracy to go into socialism and communism. Never. Mm-mm. And there's a reason for that. This is hell. Is that where you want to live? Is that where you want your children to live and your grandchildren to live? Please think. Think once, think twice. Think 10 times before you mark that ballot. And do mark that ballot in person if you can. In person if you can. It's worth the wait in line. It won't be that long. Mark for Trump and the Republicans, because President Trump needs to have the Republicans behind him to support him to get things he wants done, to get it through. He needs to have that Democrat in the Senate. He needs to have Democrat congressmen. He needs to, listen to me, he needs to have Republican, I'm so sorry. He needs to have the Republican in the Senate and Republicans in Congress, Republicans to back up and support what he wants to get passed through. The Democrats aren't going to do it. They'll fight him tooth and nail all the way. So vote for Trump, vote for the Republican ticket, and vote in person if you can. And that concludes the reading for this week. I'll end it with a prayer to the Blessed Mother. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Keep President Trump and Vice President Pence healthy and protect them from all evil. And please, please bless us with an honest election. Amen. Be safe. I'll see you again soon.